Hello, once again, I welcome you to this YouTube channel. And in this video, we are going to be looking at a new tool that has just been developed by Google called Kubectl-AI. Yeah, from the word or from the term Kubectl, what comes to mind is Kubernetes. Kubectl is the tool that allow you to interact with your Kubernetes cluster. So the question is, what is Kubectl-AI? AI is essentially a kind of a plugin that has been integrated with the kubectl tools that allow a developer or a DevOps engineer or any user for that matter to interact with Kubernetes cluster using natural languages, using natural queries, meaning that you can communicate with your Kubernetes cluster through Kubectl-AI by ordinary or by natural language, such as English language. So instead of typing the command, you could put the required action in natural language, and the Kubectl-AI will interpret the language into Kubernetes command. Why Kubectl-AI? You and I understood that, or you will agree with me that learning Kubernetes cluster could be very, very demanding. The learning curve is very steepy, and there are hundreds of commands and subcommands that are needed to effectively manage a Kubernetes cluster. But with the aid of Kubectl-AI, you could tell a cluster, or you could instruct a cluster what action you intend to carry out in a plain language, in natural language, and the Kubectl-AI is capable of interpreting your natural language into Kubernetes command. Imagine if, for example, you want to list the nodes in your Kubernetes cluster, and instead of typing kubectl get nodes, you can simply say list the nodes. You can simply tell your Kubectl-AI that list the node. So you are giving the command to it in English, and this AI tool will go ahead and interpret this query and turn it into a Kubernetes command. Now, this can go in a great way to help developers or DevOps engineer or any Kubernetes user to focus on the tasks instead of devoting much energy on the command and all the and all stuff like that. So, and like I put on the screen here, I said it is just a plugin developed by Google, and users can describe what they want in plain English, and Kubectl-AI will suggest the appropriate Kubernetes kubectl command. So I said it enables developer and DevOps engineer to interact with cluster using natural language through AI-powered systems. So this Kubectl-AI supports a lot of AI models. So it supports Google Gemini. It supports OpenAI GPT, which is the most common one. It also supports the X Grok. It supports Azure OpenAI, and you can even install Olama locally on your computer and still able to interact with it using the Kubectl-AI. So, but in this video, we are going to be using the Google Gemini model as our AI model, which we will use to, which we install on our Kubernetes cluster that will enable us, or that will enable the Kubectl-AI to interact with our Kubernetes cluster. So, how do we do this? To install the cubes, to set up the Kubectl-AI on your Kubernetes cluster, what are the requirements? What are the requirements, or what are the prerequisites? So I will come here. Sorry. So sorry. Let me just clear this. I do not have a lot. So what are the requirements? What are the requirements? One, we need a Kubernetes cluster. Okay, we need a Kubernetes cluster. Also, we need kubectl. Kubectl need to be installed on this Kubernetes cluster. Kubectl installed. Okay, we need kubectl installed. We are going to need the API key of the model that we want to use. The API key, okay? The API key of the AI model, okay? In this case, it's going to be Google Gemini. So within the Kubernetes cluster, we need kubectl to be installed on the Kubernetes cluster. So we need the API key of the AI model that we want to use. So these are the three requirements that are needed to set up your Kubectl-AI on your Kubernetes cluster. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be installing my Kubernetes cluster on an EC2 machine. So I'm going to need, this is for the purpose of this class, I'm going to need an EC2 machine. So I'm going to set up an EC2 machine, okay, on which I'm going to install my Kubernetes cluster. So on that EC2 machine, I will be using Kind. You know what Kind is? I'll be using Kind to set up my Kubernetes cluster. If I'll be using Kind to set up my cluster, that means I'm going to need to install Docker on that cluster. You know what Kind means? Kind simply means Kubernetes in Docker. That is what the word Kind means, meaning that Kind simply allow you or enable you to run a Kubernetes cluster in a Docker container. So that's why you have the K, then the IN there is in, and the D is Docker. So that is simply what Kind means. So Kind is a tool that allow you to set up your Kubernetes cluster in a Docker container. So before you can use Kind to set up a Kubernetes cluster, then Docker must be installed on that Kubernetes cluster. So I need an EC2 machine, I need to install Docker, and I will also install Kind. And I will use that Kind I'll use Kind to run my Kubernetes cluster. So I think this is what that are needed, and we can go ahead now and try to see how this actually works. So let's go on to our AWS console, and the first thing we're going to do is to spin up an EC2 machine. So this is my AWS account. So I'm going to go to EC2, and I'm going to launch an EC2 instance. So I'll click on launch EC2 instance. and I'm going to call this EC2 instance. Let me call it kubectl, or let me just call it AI cluster. Let me call it AI cluster. Okay, I'll call it AI cluster, and I'm going to call it. I'm going to go with Ubuntu. I like to go with the version before the latest. I'll go with 22.4 LTS. I'll confirm it, and then I'll go ahead. So I'm going to choose a bigger instance type just to make sure everything runs smoothly. So I'm going to go with T2 large. I think T2 medium should be okay in your own case, but I'll go with T2 large, or let me go with T2 extra large. I want to go with T2 extra large, and then I'll go down for my key pair. I already have my key pair here, and then for my security group, I already have security group set up, which I call the general security group. And I think I've shown you in my previous video what are the content of this security group. Let me just quickly show you. I'm going to duplicate my tab, okay, and I'm going to click on EC2, and I'm going to click on security group, and I'm going to click on general. Maybe I can see it. General. Okay, so it's here, general security group. And if I click on it, you can see it contains all the ports that are usually used in DevOps. So what I did was I created a security group, and I opened all those ports just for my demonstration purpose. So it's going to make it easy for me, or make it easier anytime I want to set up an EC2. Instead of going ahead to open this port and open that port, I can easily just pick it because I have most of the ports that are being used open here. This is not advisable in a production environment. This is just for demonstration purpose. In a production environment, you want to be more secure, and you only give permission to the ports that are required. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just close it. So I'll go ahead now. Then I also have a couple of security group, both for my Kubernetes master and for Node. These are not very important, but I just want to put it for the purpose, for this sake. And I'm going to be using a larger storage size, maybe like 40. I'm going to be using about 40 gig because the model could be a very large one. So now that all of these are completed, I'm going to go ahead and launch my instance. So now that we have an instance running, I'm going to go ahead and access my instance. So this is the instance here. It is running, and I'm going to just going to go ahead. This is the instance, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the public IP, and I'm going to use a terminal to SSH into this EC2 machine. So I'm going to go on my terminal. I'm going to open a new terminal here. I'm going to clear my screen. I'm going to let me just zoom out a little bit for you to see, and I'm going to connect to my machine. I'm very sure everybody you might know how to SSH into an EC2 machine. So this is the SSH command. This is an interaction mode, and this part is where my SSH key is stored on my computer, and this is the name of the SSH key. Okay, if you go to my machine and you go down, you will see the SSH key. Okay, I hope you can see it very quickly. My SSH key, and that is what exactly I have on my computer. I think it should be SSH key. It should be somewhere. Keep here. under keep here. Okay, sorry about that. I can actually see it. But what I'm saying is that that SSH key is the key I selected while I was let me click on this, maybe that will be clearer. SSH key. So that is just my SSH key that I've created while I was trying to launch the EC2 machine. Somewhere here. Why that I Yeah, so it should be somewhere here. If I see it, anytime I see it, I'll let you know. Security, could it be other security, networking, not security, not networking. Okay, anyway, what I just mean is that is my SSH key. So I'll go back to my terminal and I will just click enter to connect. I will type yes, and now I'm inside the Ubuntu machine. So I'm going to clear my screen. And whenever you spin up an Ubuntu machine or any virtual machine for that matter, the first thing you want to do is to update the machine. So the update is going to make the all the packages available for you to use. So in this case, I will just go ahead and type sudo apt update. So what I'm saying is that I'm actually updating the machine. Sudo apt update. So that will update and make all the packages available to use. So after that, don't forget I told you we need what? We need Docker. So the next thing now is I will go ahead and install Docker. So let's wait for this to complete installation or complete update. So yeah, that is complete. I'm going to clear the screen. And the next thing now is I want to install Docker. So I'll just type Docker. I will click enter and it's going to tell me Docker is not available, but it's going to give me the command to install Docker. So I'm going to copy it and type it. And I'm going to put flag Y so that it will not prompt me for continuation. So I'm installing Docker now. So that is very quick. So Docker is being installed. I'm going to clear the screen. And you should notice, if you type Docker, let's try a command, Docker PS. Docker PS is to check, Docker PS is a command to check all running containers. So if I put it like this, you see that it's going to throw up an error. Let's see. So, and this what happened is that whenever you install Docker, Docker will only give permission to a Docker user. Okay, you only give permission to a Docker user when it is installed on a machine. So for the current user, which is Ubuntu, you can see from my terminal that the current user is Ubuntu. Okay, so for Ubuntu to be able to run Docker, you need to add Ubuntu to a Docker group, and the command is, because you should see now, if I go ahead and I do sudo the same command, sudo Docker PS, you can see now that it returns that's a result that is returned. So meaning that this we need a permission to be able to just run Docker PS without sudo. And what is that permission? We have to go ahead and add Docker to and add Ubuntu to Docker group. And the command is sudo user mode -a capital G Docker group, then Ubuntu. But most of the time, I prefer to use this. This means the current user. You are saying add the current user, which is Ubuntu in this case, add it to what? To the Docker group. And I click enter. And when you do this, it will still not be effective. If I still go ahead and I do Docker PS, you can still returning this, because you need to what? Exit and log in back to make it effective. Okay? But now, instead of exit and log in again, there's a command you can run to do that, and that command is new group docker. So this will immediately make this command available for you, and if you use enter. Now if I go back to run that command now, okay, if I go back to run that command, you can see I can't type again because it has exit and log in again. So if I go back and I type docker ps, you can see now the command is now working. So we have installed docker. The next thing is to what? Is to install kind. How do we install kind? We are going to go to kind. We're going to go to kind documentation page. So that is very easy. So you can just open your terminal, your browser, and type kind. I can type kind here, okay, because I already used it before. You can just come here and type it in here. Okay, just type kind, and okay, let's say kind install. Okay, kind install, and it's already here. You can click on it, and all you just need to go to is go to quick start. Okay, and you go to under installation. So on Linux, we are using Linux, so we're going to do this. It's asking us that if your Linux is an AMD or 8664 architecture, you're going to use this command. Why, if your own is a ARMD 64, you're going to use this command. How do you know that? You can quickly type your you can use the command uname-m to know if what your Linux architecture is, and this is 64. So in that case, we are going to be using this command. So I'm going to copy this command. Okay, I'll copy this command and I will run it. I will paste. Oh, sorry, maybe I didn't copy it well. I'll go back there. I'll copy, then I'll paste it. Okay, that is installed. I'll go back again and copy the next one, which is this. Of course, this is for the other one. We don't need it. This and this are just the same for different architectures. So I'm going to copy the third one now. Go back, paste it, enter, and I will go and copy the last one, which is this. And sorry, and I will paste it. So now, if I type kind, it's going to return. Of course, it will return an output. So kind is also installed. So let's go back to our teaching board. So we said we need an EC2 machine. We have set that up. We needed Docker that has been set up. And we have also installed kind. So we are going to go ahead now and we are going to use kind to set up a Kubernetes cluster. And after we have set up a Kubernetes cluster, we will install kubectl. After we install kubectl, then we can go and get the model, the API key of the AI model that we wanted to use. Okay. So the next thing now is to what? Use kind to create a Kubernetes cluster. So I'll go back to my terminal. We can create a simple Kubernetes cluster, and you can just say kind create cluster. And what is the name of the cluster? If you did not provide the name of the cluster, kind will just go ahead and create a cluster and call it the name kind by default. Any cluster that is created by kind without the name provided, without the name indicated, kind will give it a name kind. But in this case, I want it to be called, let's call it AI cluster. Okay, let's call it AI cluster. So I'll click enter. So it's going to create it. So kind is a very simple tool that allow you to easily create a Kubernetes cluster. You can create a multi-node cluster and so on and so forth. So we can go ahead and create multi-node cluster. See, this is creating the cluster. Okay, that is done. A cluster has been what? Created. So if we type kind get cluster, okay, my command is wrong. I'll clear the screen and type kind clusters. So you can see now that is the cluster that we have created, which is Kubernetes cluster. Now, we now go ahead and install our kubectl, because if I say kubectl now, kubectl get nodes, it's going to throw an error because there's no kubectl installed. So we go ahead and type and install kubectl, and this is install using the command sudo install kubectl. No, it's sudo snap install kubectl, but because it's a snap package, because there's no kubectl available for apt package. If I put apt, let's see. If I put apt, let's see what we're going to get. Sudo apt install kubectl. You can see now it's a reading package done. Reading unable to locate package kubectl. That is in the apt package. kubectl is not available. So we rather use what the snap package. But whenever you're using the snap package, you need to add the term iPhone classic, because it is the classic package that is available for that. And you click enter, and then kubectl will be installed. So if I clear the screen now, and I said kubectl get nodes, and say now it can get the node. So this is the node that is present in the cluster, which is our control plane cluster. So now that we now have what? We have the EC2 kind Docker all installed, and we have created a cluster. We have kubectl installed. So the next thing now is to what? Fetch an API key for the AI model that we use, and then we will now pass the key into our cluster, and then we can now begin to interact using the Kubectl-AI. Now, how do we do this? For us to get a kubectl, for us to get the API key, we can get it in two ways. One, you can get it from your Google AI Studio, Okay, you can get one. If I go to my Google AI Studio, and if you look at the top here, it says get key, but I already have key, so that is why you can see I have a key here. So if I click on this, I have my key generated. So in your own case, there will be no key here, and so you can just come here and click on generate key, and you're going to give it a name, and then generate the key. However, before you can generate the key, you need a Google Cloud account. You need a Google Cloud account to be able to generate it either through Google AI Studio or through your your GCP platform. Okay, your Google GCP, I mean your Google Cloud platform. So, like this one can be generated here, but for those of you that have your Google account, you can just go into your GCP, okay, Google account. Let me see if this is it. Okay, yeah. So like in my own case now, this is my Google account, and this is okay because I've checked this before. This is my Gemini API key. If I click on manage key, okay, and under here I can see if I go to credential on the left, you will see this is the key. So if you want to generate a new one, you can always come here and click on create credential. Okay. Now if you look at this key, let's look at this key now. If I click on this key and I look at the value of that key, okay, let me see that key. If I look on the value of that key, I'm trying to see where I can see it. to see the value to let you know that it's the same key that I have on my Gemini. Oh, front here, if I click on show key, you can look at this is the key here. And if you look at the last key, it is Q1RY. So if I go to my Gemini platform, look at it, a Q1RI, if you look at it in here. So it's the same key that I generated here that also appear on my Google platform. But I have a second key that I've also created. For those of you that are using Google platform, you want to create a new key, you just come here and click on create key. It's an API key. You click on select API key. Okay. So the key is going to be created, and so the key is created now. This is a new key that has been created. You can use any of them. However, if you look at it here, the key is having this, attention because the key is not restricted. You need to restrict your key to a particular use because as it is now, you have opened this key and it can be used to perform any act that is not acceptable. So you have to go ahead and edit the key and put a restriction. So in this key now, I want the key to only be used under restriction. You go to click restrict key and you select what you want to use the key for. I only want to use it for what? For generative AI. For generative language here. So I will click on and I will click OK. If I want to change the name of the key, I can change it to my Kubernetes AI key. Okay, and I can save it. I can go ahead and save it. So if I save it now, you will see that the mark will go away. You can see now that it is what? It is active. And I can use it for my Kubectl AI. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the key. I can copy it from either way, but let me copy it from here. So I'll copy it from here and I will go back to my terminal and I'm going to pass it into terminal. And if you see from here, it says use the key. Lately the key was created. He gave us an instruction on how to use the key. He says you use it in what? In a what? Key value pair. Okay, you're going to be using the key in a key value pair. So in this case, now I'm going to come here and I'm going to export the key. I'll put export, and it is what? Gemini API key. Gemini API key equals what I copied. Okay, can you see it? I will export Gemini API key to what? To the key that I copied. Let me just take enter. Okay, and we have the last thing to do now. The last thing to do now is to install Kubectl-AI. If I type Kubectl-AI, let's see what I have. Kubectl-AI. You can see the command is not found because we don't have this tool. Even though we have Kubectl, we don't have the Kubectl-AI. So we have to go and install Kubectl-AI. And there's a command that we can use to simply install that. And that command is for Google Gemini. It's going to be different if you are using Grok or you are using OpenAI. So, and this is the command. So it's a very long command. And I'm going to edit. I will remove this mark. And I'll also remove it at the end of HTTPS. So, and I click enter. So this will go ahead and you can see now it said Kubectl-AI installed successfully. So now Kubectl has been installed. So if I clear my screen, now we can go ahead and begin to use our Kubectl-AI. Now let's test it out. I'm just zooming out. So for example now, let's assume I'm new to Kubernetes, but I know the theoretical the theory of how to interact with Kubernetes. So I can simply tell my Kubernetes in plain language, in English language, and the Kubectl AI will interpret it. So let's start. I'll first start by saying you should list. Can you? You have to first say Kubectl Kubectl-AI. You first reach out to him, and he will respond to you. Hey there, what can I help you with today? So I say, list my clusters. Let's see. So you can see now it has generated. You can see the kubectl AI has generated this command, which is kubectl config, and it said, okay, I found the following cluster, which is the cluster I have. You can see it's my AI cluster. It added the kind because it is created with kind. It had to let me know if you need anything else. And I said, yes. I want you to list the node, okay? Any active node, state. Do I have any active node? List the node. Let's see what happens here. You see, it's running the command to what? To create a node. Kubectl get nodes. OY mean the detail. And that's a yes, you have one active node. You can see this is the name of the node, AI cluster control plane, and they said the status is ready, the role is control plane, and blah 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 and other formal details. And it's asking me, it seems like your control panel node is up and ready. Okay, so you can begin to interact. Let's assume I'm going to tell this kubectl now. Let's assume I want to deploy, I want to create a deployment and a service, but I don't know how to go about it. Now I'm going to ask the kubectl AI to help me. So I'll say, can you um, create deployment and service? Okay, you know what I want us to do? I want us to first create a namespace. Let's first create a namespace. Okay, please list all available namespace. NS. Please list all available namespace. You can see now, you run the command kubectl get namespace and look at all the namespaces that are available now. Now I want to create my own. Create namespace called by AI namespace. By AI dev. AI dev. Let's see. You can see now, it says, okay, you want to create the namespace. So it's giving me the command and it's asking me if that is what I want. And I said, yes, that is what I want. Number one is yes. So I'll just press 1 and I'll click enter. So you will go ahead and create the namespace now. You can see namespace this has been successfully what? Created. Now, if I find namespace now, you're going to see this name as part of the namespace. So I'm just going to say list namespace. It's listing namespace now. And you can see the namespace that I just created is here. Now I'm going to tell it to go ahead and create deployment and service in that namespace. So please, that's not even necessary anyway. Please create deployment from deployment and service in the namespace by AI dev. Then I said this is not valid. My name's error reading this. Okay, I don't know what happened. Let me see. Create deployment service in the namespace. In the namespace by AI dev. I don't know what causes the error. I don't know what causes this error anyway. Reading streamline LLM error message. This generating request content part must not be empty. Okay. I don't know what this error is. LLM response. The namespace this is listed as active. Okay. Please create deployment. I'm going to come out of it using Control A. I'm going to clear my screen and I'm going to go back into it by typing Kubectl-AI, and I'm going to say that again. Create deployment and service in my AI dev namespace. Okay, so you can see now, I don't know what causes that error in the first one, but what I did was I just check out of it and I came back. You can see now it has created a deployment. You can see the kind is deployment. This is a YAML file, and it's asking me, look at it from the instruction. He said, okay, I can help with that to create this, blah, blah, blah. Number one, deployment name is this. I've created a deployment and it's working on it, and it's asking me if that is what you want. Yeah, I say yes. Go ahead. One, enter. Yeah, I don't know what this error is anyway. Enter one as your choice. That's what I did. One. I don't know why the error. So I enter one. Let us see. Okay. Now I will go ahead and create service. So it's creating service now. Let me put one again. I don't know why the error. Okay. So he has created now. Look at it. You can now verify by running this command. Is there anything hex? So he has created deployment and service. So I will ask him now to list deployment and service. List deployment, list all available deployment and service in the my AI dev namespace. Let's see. Okay, see, you can see now it's running the kubectl deployment and service, and you can see the outcome. Okay, so he has the names, he has the deployment, and he has the service. So you can see now that I can easily interpret or interact with my Kubernetes cluster using the plain English language, and the kubectl AI will interpret, generate a Kubernetes command, and execute it. You can even ask it to fetch logs. Okay, let's assume there's any logs present. Let me look for pods now. List the pods. Yeah, I don't really know what is going on here. Pods. I don't know what list pods. Okay, so you can see now you run the command immediately. Kubectl get pod. It said no pod were found. Okay, so let me ask him to fetch the logs in for nodes in ns. Let me say fetch the logs for nodes. That may be that may not be very straightforward. Let us see what it's going to do. Fetch the logs for nodes. Okay, so what I'm just trying to put across here is now, so with this tool, you can interact with your, you can see now it has put it out, kubectl get node wide, which is going to give the detail of all the nodes that are present. So, and it's telling me what it can do and what it cannot do. So with this, you don't have to, memorize all the Kubernetes command. You can simply tell, as long as you know what you want to do with your Kubernetes, you can easily tell Kubernetes AI, kubectl AI in English language, and it will go ahead and convert it convert the query to a Kubernetes command. Yeah, it is important to mention that this tool is still in the beta stage. That is, it is still in the development stage. So it's going to be, it is advisable that you only use it in the dev or the test environment at this moment until, due to security reasons, until it is completely rolled out and all the security concerns are taken into consideration. So I hope you have learned one or two things in this video. I implore you to try other AI model such as XAI Grok, such as OpenAI. As long as you can get the API key, you should be able to try them out. I hope you like this video. Please, if you do, please like and subscribe to this channel so that you can get notification anytime a video is uploaded. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to clean up and tear down all resources that you use on your AWS so as not to incur any cost. I will see you in the next video.